Hey y'all, it's Nancy the Handy Scandy. Welcome back for another crafty venture.
And welcome to Saturday Morning Makes. This is my episode 43 for 2024, and we are rounding out the year pretty soon.
Hey y'all, it's Nancy the Handy Scandy. Thanks for joining me for another Saturday Morning Makes on a Sunday evening. I have been busy playing and working in my craft room since Thanksgiving. I took out a bunch of products and mostly stamps at that point, and I just stamped and I stamped and I stamped and I stamped on watercolor card because I was jonesing to do some watercoloring, and that is exactly what I did. So I pulled out my Arteza 36 half pan set, and I also pulled out my Kuretake Gonzai Tombi. What's the whole name of it? Oh, it's just Kuretake. It's upside down, I know, but it's Kuretake. Anyway, I pulled those out and I did some stamping, and I had so much fun watercoloring those stamped images. And I still have a bunch, so I'm going to set these aside. We'll talk about the finished things that I came to. But I stamped and watercolored these. And this guy's stamped and heat embossed, but not watercolored yet. These are stamped and watercolored. These and these and these. Look how cute those guys are from Diana Markham. Super cute. And that, all of those little bits and bobs and those. And this big winterberry sprig from Tim Holtz. Here's another of the little sprigs from Diana Markham. Here's some more sentiments that are stamped and heat embossed. And those are things that are waiting to be made into something. But I just watercolored till my heart's content. I also did a little bit of stenciling. This was the back of a 12 by 12 paper pad. It was Joann's. I can't even think of the name of their paper brand. But anyway, this big stencil is from Spellbinders. Let me see if I can grab it. Oh, it doesn't want to come out, but it's a big 8.5 by 11 stencil, and I used Shimmery Goodness as the paste to go through it, and it's sitting here waiting to be used. But isn't that beautiful? Beautiful. And it's a good way to recycle, and this is nice heavy, so like if I wanted to make a tag out of it, it would die cut lovely. If I wanted to make circles, I could do ornaments, any number of things, but that's a really good way to recycle, and it's a beautiful paste and a beautiful stencil. So let me set that back aside. That will be coming up. I'm just showing you some of what I've been working on this weekend, because not everything that I started got finished. So I don't know what all these little bits and pieces are on my little Sherpa here. But anyway, let me set these back aside as well. And I will start with these two cards, because that's actually where I started. So you see these strips of paper? So I have this folder that has a bunch of watercolor card scraps. Now, some of these watercolor scraps are from Arches Cold Press, and I am not about to waste that. So I thought, how can I use all of these little bits and pieces? And I probably had, I don't know, 15 or so about this size, maybe larger, some maybe a little shorter. But I decided, you know how I always kind of strip it up and I make my backgrounds out of strips and whatnot. So I laid them all together in my MISTI, and I put the magnet down on them, and then I used this stamp from Tim Holtz from the Forest Floor 2 set, and I just stamped them. I repositioned it and made sure that the magnet was holding everything down tight up against the ledge of the MISTI so that everything wouldn't shift and move. And I had them all lined up together. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One of them has a piece on the back too, 7. So I had 7 strips, and I just stamped and stamped and stamped. And then when I was done stamping, basically making my own pattern paper, then I set it aside. And then when I was ready to watercolor paint with them, I pulled out like a sticky mat and kind of stuck them down to it, and then I just watercolored. And then I added some stamping to the back and lots of splatter, and I, edged all of the edges with Vintage Photo. And then I came back in with my Wink of Stella, and it still has a little bit of sparkle in it, but not very much. And that's when I pulled out my new favorite again, liquid pixie dust. I need to pick up some more of this. But I just I shook it up and I squirted some out, and then I just dipped the brush, because it's basically a watercolor pen, right? So I dipped the brush into the liquid pixie dust, and that's what I used to spray it on. So anyway, that's why you can see all that shimmer and that shine on all of those berries, on here and on here. Now, these little bits here on these hollies are sequins that I pulled out of an old sequin mix from, I think it was Doodle's Paper Playground. So anyway, let me talk one at a time. This one actually did not turn out the way I saw it in my head, and I did not like it and was not going to show it. But I rarely give up on anything. I rarely throw things away. And I fussy cut these 2 pine cones out, added some of that Wink of Stella / liquid pixie dust, and then I layered them up here. They're on some double-sided foam tape just to kind of fill that space. And it might be too much at this point. I don't know. I don't hate it. It's not my favorite of the weekend, but I don't hate it. But I used, so I used this die set a lot. Christmas branch die set from Whimsy, and I used this holly. There's another piece of holly in there as well, but I'm not going to pull it out right now. But I used those. That's where I got this holly. And I used this die set for this card, so it has the inverted scallops die set. So I used the inverted scallop, this large one, and then this small one, and then that stamp, that sentiment rather. It is a stamp, of course, but it's from Lily of the Valley, and they're absolutely beautiful. Look at how pretty these are. If you haven't seen them already, they're gorgeous. And they're good size. And so I'm going to jump over to this one, because this, of course, is this stamp. Tidings of Comfort and Joy is that one. And look how big that is. Now, for this card, I used the Wonky Stitch rectangle die, this largest one, as well as this kind of mid-size one for that. And I also used this, which is the A2 Antique Frames, to cut out this piece. And these little holly berries and holly branches are from the Diana Markham set. So I brought it all together. Again, not sure how happy I am with this one, but it's done. And I splattered, you can see some of that liquid pixie dust splattered on there. On the inside, I did a little bit of ink blending and just stamped that same holly branch image in there, using my last piece of that. And look, Made with Love by Nancy. I even actually did that. Now, if you don't like to have your stuff sticking over the edge, you can always trim that off. I haven't, but by the time it goes to be put in an envelope, it may need to come off. And then this one on the inside, this pattern paper, by the way, is from an old 12 by 12 pack. I'm sure I purchased it at Joann's, but I do not know the name of the company. And then did the same thing on the inside and then on the back. So there are those 2. Let me move these aside. And then I have this one. This one is my preferred of the 3 cards. And again, I started with that same image. It's a and I've used all of these this weekend, but the ones that I'm showing you today obviously are really heavy with this holly branch. It's so stinking pretty. Now you can see there's no shimmer and shine on this one. I just left it very matte, very craft, right? I did come in with some white splatter just to kind of brighten it up a little bit, because these are all kind of dark and heavy. But I do like that, you know, I like that a lot. And then I used this die set again. This is an old one from Spellbinders. I have no idea how old it is. I bought it used, And then on this side, there's these. I bought them at the same time from the same person. It was a Facebook de-stash group, and I bought them at the same time. So I have no idea how old they are, but there they are. So that's what I used to cut these out. Now you can see on this layer that there's that embossing. That beautiful embossing is from Simon Says Stamp. It's this embossing folder I got, a month or so ago. I'm not even sure. Does it have its name on here? Does not have its name. But it's fairly new. It was from either October or November. But it's gorgeous. And it is definitely a 3D layer. So, so pretty. And I use the Wonky Stitch rectangles to die cut this layer out. This again, it was from an old pattern paper pack. I'm in a process right now where I'm just using my stash right now. I'm just playing and enjoying myself. No real intentions when I come in, but to use my stash and enjoy myself. And I'm fulfilling that. So I'm loving it very much, to be honest. This Mary is from Simon Says Stamp. I love this stamp set, and I do have the coordinating dies, and I have these little jigs because sometimes it can be hard to line those up when you can't see what you are die cutting. So that's why this is a little bit off. I didn't have a jig at that time. That is that card. Let me see what we did on the inside of this one. Oh, another 2 strips. I don't know if you can tell there's that craft in the middle. So 2 strips of that tartan plaid there, and then some more splatters, and then on the back, the same, Made with Love. So there's all of those. Let me put these away for just a second, and then I'll bring in my tag, and then we will be done. So this is absolutely adorable. These are a little fragile. I may end up cutting them off just because I don't want them to tear off. But these tags are from my stash. I bought them on Amazon. They're these packaging or freight tags. And then I layered up this pattern paper. So this particular pattern paper came from Tracy Vanover Designs at her Etsy shop, FPOP, EPHPOP. And on there, she has a pattern paper pack. It's basically like Little Shop of Horrors, and this was in that set. And I remember at the time saying that I would likely use that for Christmas. It's that mattress ticking, and I love it. And yes, I'm using it for Christmas. I had pulled out my packet of red. You can see all these red scraps that I have in here, and this was basically my inspiration for the color patterns that I went with this weekend. So that's why there's so much red and brown and cream. But this is that same pattern paper mattress ticking, and it has a lot of distressing in the background, has almost like a ledger grid in the background, as well as the mattress ticking, and there's some lettering and stuff back there too. But I think it's gorgeous. It definitely lends itself to kind of a prim, country, rustic look. And then this adorable mug is from Diana Markham right there. So super cute. Let me see if I can put it on the paper so you can see it a little bit better, or take it off altogether so you can see it better. Isn't that adorable? But I have it colored up over in that stack that I showed you in the beginning. It's colored up in a different colorway, but it will be made likely into a card, that other one. But this one I thought was super cute. I've made something with this one as well. And these two, as you saw, are waiting in the wings. So, oop, it doesn't go in there. But that is that. Isn't that so cute? And again, I did watercoloring. And I had to get some folks involved with me, trying to help me figure out my color palette. Because I didn't want it to look like ketchup and mustard. You know what I mean? But you probably can't unsee that now. I have this same holly from Whimsy. This is a piece of my pattern paper scrap as well. This sentiment is from Darcy's. I love Darcy's. I don't pull them out often enough. And these images are absolutely adorable, but I use this. And then I added splatter, and I used the snowflake to, stamp some snowflakes in the background. Some of them are very messy and grungy. Some of them are nice and crisp. And then, of course, I did the splatter with the white. And I have these little micro beads. And I just laid down some glue in the center, poured out the beads on there, and pressed them into the glue and set it aside to dry. Then I added this little strip of lace and one of my wooden snowflakes, and the same jute twine that I used up here with the same brown baker's twine. And then on the back I just did the splatter. The end. That is it, my friends. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you have a favorite of these. I know this kind of dark, grungy, crafty color family isn't for everybody, but I love it. It just warms my heart. It just, I don't know, but you guys know that I am very much an imperfect crafter, and I don't really plan. I have intentions, I might have ideas, but I don't have plans per se. So this is what I came up with just from the last few days. I have more to bring to you soon, and then I'll also finish up those other things that I showed you that have been stamped and painted, but that's as far as they got. And with that, my friends, I am going to bid you adieu. I hope you all had a beautiful Thanksgiving. Happy December. And until next time, mwah. This has been Nancy, the Handy Scandy, for Saturday Morning Makes. I will link you to Jill Norwood, who is the beautiful host and the creator who had this fantastic idea to share heart within her heart. So I'll link you to her. But with that, I'm out.